Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf. And today I wanted to film a video about my favourite non-fiction books. So I have a lot. This may end up being two parts depending on how long I talk for. I'm a really big reader of non-fiction. I really enjoy it. I like everything from like memoirs to sort of more factual books like political books or spiritual books and lots of different types of books. So I just thought I'd kind of run through some of my favourites. I often talk about books that I haven't read yet unless I'm wrapping them up, and it's really nice to just talk about some favourites so that hopefully some other people can get some good recommendations as well. So this first one I read this a long time ago, but it's really stuck with me and it's as relevant as ever today as it was when I read it. And this is Steve and Me by Duwayne Brooks. So Duwayne Brooks was Stephen Lawrence's best friend. I'm sure everyone in this country will know who Stephen Lawrence is, but if you're from abroad, I don't know if you would, but he's a man who got murdered in the 90s, and the case was handled appallingly by the police. There was so much racism and injustice involved, and his family is still campaigning now. So this is his best friend's retelling of all the places that the investigation was messed up and how badly it was all handled and how he was actually sort of portrayed in the media as well. And this is a fantastic book. Like, I really should reread this because it must be, I think I got it when it had just come out, and that was in 2003. So it's nearly 20 years ago since I read this, and highly recommended. The next one I have is a really little book which is packed with some gems. This is from a long time ago, getting on for 100 years ago. And it is The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. So he was born in Lebanon and he ended up living in several countries around the world, like America and France. And this is sort of essays / poems on different things. So there's like children, marriage, love, pain, grief, like there's all different pleasure, prayer, friendship, self-knowledge. And they're kind of like, they're little sort of prose like that, which they're really wise teachings. And I remember coming across this when I was in my teens and finding it like really helpful when I was going through difficult times. There was one particular poem on here which I can pretty much remember from by heart, but I think it's the one on pain, but I really loved it and I found it really helpful, and so I'd really recommend this. The next one is one of the books which changed my life. This book is a book that is one of my all-time greatest books. I've come back to it so many times. There are online discussions of this which I've come to so many times as well, and it is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. So I came across this book through Oprah. She did in the early 2000s, or maybe like the mid 2000s, she did a series where she did a chapter a week with Eckhart, and they discussed it for an hour and a half. They took questions. You can get these online and you can get it on her Super Soul Sessions podcast, and I'd highly recommend listening to one of the discussions with each chapter because he goes into some really big depth and helping you understand it and really live it. And I sort of had those all on CDs. I like burn them on CDs when they were a thing, and I used to listen to this in the car on the way to work, and it was just one of the books that I will always like have the most special place for, because I haven't really told you what it's about. It's about basically mindfulness and being in the present moment and stepping out of ego and pain, and how to kind of just live a much more peaceful, purposeful life. So there's chapters on consciousness, humanity, ego, the pain body, breaking free, finding who you are, discovering inner space, your inner purpose, and awakening a new earth. And honestly, like if this is your kind of book and you haven't read this, just so good. Next, I have one which I was sent when I read the Wellcome Prize shortlist last year, and I found this was really incredible, this book. So this is a memoir. It's called Mind on Fire by Arnold Thomas Fanning. And this is, so he has bipolar, and this is his memoir of what it's like to have bipolar. And it starts off while he's in mania. And this is like an amazing description of what mania must feel like. And for me, he sees people professionally who have mania very occasionally, but sometimes. This is an incredible description of what it's like. And it starts off where he's at Heathrow Airport and he's manic, and he knows that he has to do certain things while he's there. And when you've got mania, like, people often can't follow what you're saying because you're speaking so fast and your brain is going from topic to topic to topic, and you know what connections those topics have, but people who are listening don't have a clue what you're talking about. And so he's kind of doing that, and he's getting like taken down by security and things because he's trying to like rip things off the walls, and he's trying to like just do stuff that you just wouldn't do at an airport because he's sure that that's what he's supposed to be doing and that's why he's there. And he is a writer, and he writes plays, and it's about as well how the medication which makes him better sometimes then inhibits his ability to write. And then so he kind of doesn't want to be on the medication, but then if he's not on it he goes manic again, or he gets really depressed. And it's just so fascinating. It's quite an uplifting book. It's not something that you'll read and feel really like depressed reading it, but if you have an interest in mental health, then this book is incredible. So another book which is a bit of a medical theme, and I read this a few years ago and loved it so much. This is Monique and the Mango Rains by Kris Holloway. So Kris Holloway is a American student who went, I can't remember, it's like a program they do in the States, but I can't remember what program. But there's a program anyway where you can like go and spend time in other countries and sort of live with the people who live there and work with them and stuff. So she goes to live in, I think she goes to live in Mali with Monique, and Monique is the local midwife. And so it's basically all about like the community, but also following Monique and her amazing midwifery work that she does in a place where there is no medical help, and it's the high maternal and infant mortality rate. And it's about how she learns so much from the community, and she learns so much about their culture. And there are, I think there's some pictures, is there? Yeah, there's some pictures in here as well. Yeah, so that's Kris and Monique. And it's just the most fascinating, beautiful, wonderful book. And I still think about Monique, like I still think about her, how wonderful she is, and you know, everything that she's accomplished. And I just really, really love this book, so I'd highly recommend this one as well. Next, we have a travel writing book, which I watched the film of it and then realised it was an adaptation from the book. And this is written a good 15 years ago, actually 24 years ago this is written. And this is Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays. So this is about, Frances is American, and she's on holiday in Tuscany, and from memory, she's driving, or she's on a bus, and she suddenly sees this house for sale, and she just thinks, I have to have that house. And she wants to basically uproot from the States and move to this house, which is in a bit of a bad way, and she wants to renovate it with her husband. And so it's about the sort of the buying process, which is lengthy and difficult. And then it's about the renovation of the house and the people who come and help her and the community. And the thing that really stands out for me here is the food. Like, if you like food writing, oh my goodness. So she talks so much about it's so different. Like, you know, for us, you know, we'll go to the supermarket, we'll do our weekly shop, we'll come home. Whereas for them in Tuscany, they will get up really early in the morning, go to a local market, buy food which is fresh and local, and like, you know, like peaches which are like really ripe, or tomatoes which are really ripe for the flavour, and then they'll go home and they'll cook it that day and they'll eat it, and it will be like the most incredible flavours. So they only need like a few ingredients to make these meals. You know, like in Italy the food is just like very kind of simply done, but the most beautiful food you've ever had. And so she talks about that. She has some recipes in there, and then the next day they'll go back to the market and they'll get what they need again really early in the morning before it gets too hot and stuff. So it's really different way of life. But oh my gosh, it's making me hungry thinking about it. Like, the food writing is amazing. There's some recipes in here as well. And me and my husband like love Italy. Like, I can't wait to go back to Italy again when we can travel again and take the kids, because it's just the most gorgeous place. So yeah, I think anyone who likes Italy, food, travel writing, house renovation stuff, this is the book for you. It's really, really good. Okay, so I am going to do 2 more and then I'm going to stop and call this the end of part 1, because I still have, after these 2, there's still 11 more. So it's going to be way too long if I do them all in one go. So I'm going to do these 2, I'm going to stop, and then I will record a second part. So the last 2 I have, one that I read again some years ago but still remember with fondness, and this is As Used on the Famous Nelson Mandela by Mark Thomas. So Mark Thomas I have spoken about at length on this channel. He is a brilliant non-fiction writer. He's a political left-wing journalist, and he comes up with kind of real news stories and makes them also really entertaining at the same time. And this is where he basically sets up an arms dealership at a girls' school. So he wants to show in this book that the rules about weapons dealing and dealing in torture equipment, the laws are not watertight. Basically, it's not that hard to get around them at all. So he decides to get together with a girls' school. I can't remember where it is, but somewhere in the UK. And with obviously the approval of the school as a project, they set up an arms dealership. And obviously the people they're dealing with have absolutely no idea that this is all a ruse, and this is some students at school who are doing this. But they do it to prove how easy it is to do this legally. And so it's subtitled Underground Adventures in the Arms and Torture Trade. It's obviously a very serious topic, but it's really funny as well. And we went to see, so for every book, Mark does a stand-up show, and we went to see the stand-up show. We've seen, I think, virtually all the books I've seen the stand-up shows for. And Mark talks about lots of real life examples, and lots of, he talks about what he goes to arms fairs to kind of, I guess, wind up and talk to the dealers, and sort of talk to them about their conscience, and their inevitable argument is, well, if I didn't do it, someone else would. And he just kind of picks that apart as a completely flawed argument, and like I said, makes it funny at the same time. So any of Mark Thomas's books are fantastic, but this one as well is really, really good. And then the final one that I have is a very big and deep book, but I adored it. And I'll read the back because it will be better to describe. But it is Women Who Run With the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So the back says, it's a seminal work on the inner lives of women. A creation of poetry and power, it began a revolution and continues to transform the lives of millions around the world. Clarissa Pinkola Estes reveals how within every woman there lives a wild woman, filled with passionate creativity and ageless knowing, but repressed for centuries by a value system that trivializes emotional truth, intuitive wisdom, and instinctual self-confidence. So, yeah, it's amazing, and I ended up getting a tattoo for this book because I loved it so much. So, like the wild women sort of archetype is something that's massively interesting to me, something that sort of really emerged when I became a mum. So yeah, that meant a lot to me as well. So those are some amazing non-fiction recommendations. Look out for part 2 if you enjoyed this video. I'm going to record the second part and I will post that soon. So let me know what your favourite non-fiction books are. Recommend me some along these lines. Let me know if you want to read any of these ones or if you have read any of them. And I hope you're having a really good week and I'll see you soon. Bye!